Hello, everybody. Hello. Sorry, I'm typing fiercely because well, I can't hear it. I just hit enter, but I'm typing messages to Matara. We're glazing our manager. uh, she was recently assigned someone, and that person is my manager within Bishojo. I'm talking about Bishojo manager. Um, she was asking me like who I've worked with, how I feel, whatever, and I was like, I think the way you do things, I think you'd really like the manager I have. And I was like, not to brag, he's just the greatest. Not to brag or anything, but like mine's the best one, And she was like, okay, we'll see. And then she was like, wow, he's the greatest. We're just sitting here glazing. I'm like, I was like, yeah, if I had a company and any reason to poach him into anything, I just fucking would. I don't have any reason to do that. And I don't know if I can legally do that. Never looked into it because I don't really intend to do that. but if I did, I would do it. He's just great. Anyway, we really love great, competent people. They're wonderful. They're wonderful. Because in this space, there's so many creatives. There's so many people that have great ideas, whatever, but there aren't that many people that can actually just sit there and follow through and get shit done and handle things on an operational side efficiently, properly. There are very few of those. So when you do have one, it's great. It's great. I could rule the world if I had 10 of him moments. Yeah, straight up, dude. I wish I could clone him. Oh my god. I wish I could clone him and then everyone in the world could have him as their manager, but He just comes from standard corporate experience. That's really all it is. And he was good at that. It's just in the space we don't have a lot of those, So I hate falling through, but incompetence of others forces my hand. Yeah, same. Same. I've never considered myself a highly what are the words I'm looking for? I've never thought I was that great when it comes to being responsible, when it comes to getting shit done. I always thought I was pretty normal. I just was like, well, I just do it because I have to. I don't hunger for this or anything. I'm not one of those. I know people that are like that. I'm not one of those. But then everyone around me would be like, you do so much, you're so efficient, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, look, I'm here out of necessity. I'm just locking in because I have to. If other people lock in, I'll just lay down and let them do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not motivated, but I hate inefficiency. Exactly. Exactly. I won't let things fall apart, but I'm not trying to make it perfect. I've never considered myself like, a real workaholic in a I love it way, maybe in a yeah, I put the hours in kind of way. But, you know. Okay, one last message and then hold on, guys. I have to mute because I have to record a voice message. Okay, me and Matara, we use voice notes a lot, like a ton. We just talk into our phones at each other. So I'm going to mute and leave her a voice note that will hopefully be at most a minute long. But you know me. I'll be right back. Okay, update. I sent her a voice note and it was 2 minutes and 9 seconds. It'll only be a minute. And I spoke so quickly. The word count in that 2 minutes 9 seconds is huge. Huge. Happens every day for me. I love voice notes because if I tried to type all of that out, it would have taken me longer, so. The thoughts come out better when speaking, I feel. Nuanced and all that, but I love voice notes. We just do it on Discord. She like goes out for her morning walk. I go outside too, and I go like grab food, you know, and we just like voice note at each other. But we're trying to plan more stuff together. So there's all that. Yes, they're voice notes on Discord, but it's mobile only, I think. Unless, I mean, there might be a way to do it on desktop. I don't know. But yeah, if you use mobile Discord, at least I'm on Android, there's a little microphone-looking button where the send button would be. If you haven't typed yet, it looks like a microphone. And you press and hold it, and while you're holding it, it records. And as soon as you let go, there you go. You can just send it. So Matara and I use that all the time to essentially have meetings without setting out a meeting time. You know? And it makes us so efficient. We actually get so much done just by doing voice notes instead of typing. It's crazy. I highly recommend if you're trying to talk to someone about ideas, get things together. But it's hard to set up a meeting time where you can both meet. Instead of waiting for the meeting, just send voice notes. Yeah, know what I mean? It makes a bunch of people send accidental voice messages in the text channels. Oh, all the time. We have to delete so many random voice notes from the Discord where someone doesn't mean to and they hold the voice button and you hear like a baby in the background. They're like all muffled in their pocket and shit. And it's like 5 seconds long. Right? Oh, there's a ton of them. A ton of them. Anyway. Making sure I didn't miss anything before I show up on screen. Hold on. Okay. Okay. We're good. I just had to make sure some shit was done. We're good. Hello. Hello. How we doing? I hate the button placement. Did you just look at it? Yeah, it's unfortunately right where the send is, and I feel like the lower down the button is on the screen on mobile, the more likely you are to accidentally tap it, just with the way people hold their phones. Ask a kayfabe question? Always. I like them. Link has items turned in shrines to gain a heart. Would you turn it to get them many hearts to reborn them? Oh, it's not related. I just wanted the screen to look like that. I have 3 health bars. That's all you gotta know. I was born with 3 health bars. You like the outfit? Thank you. Me too. It's comfortable. You know what I mean? I look at myself and I go, yeah, that looks comfy. It's nice. I like it. We're working on the other outfits. I feel like we just talked about this, but we're working on the other ones and I'm getting those going. I just don't know what order certain things are going to come out in. And I really intended for the next thing I put out to be the OG outfit because that's still supposed to be the main design. But other things need to be moved up or moved around, so I don't know. It'll happen when it happens. It'll happen whenever, whatever. There we go. I'm setting up meetings after meetings and before meetings and during meetings and, you know. There we go. Considering subject matter on your YouTube. Oh, are you from YouTube? Yeah. It is the way it is, huh? Yeah, I consider myself very lucky. I've had a lot of when I look back, I've had a lot of experiences that should have, like, straight up should have killed me. 100%. I think more so less medical, more like physical, like things like being in physical scenarios that, like, I don't know how I came out of that unscathed. I feel like everyone's had some measure of those, but I've had quite a few, especially with being someone who's spent a lot of time out in nature, hunting, around weapons, that kind of stuff. A lot of scenarios where I just don't get how nothing happened, or how not nothing happened, but I was fine. It is. You've landed your ass in the ICU in the middle of organ failure twice now? Depends on which organ, right? But still, fuck that. You want this jacket to be sold as merch? That would cost so much money. That's possible, but it's not the sort of thing a lot of people would buy. So then it would make each one individually be $1 bajillion, and like 2 people would buy it. I'd probably lose money on it. I'd probably pay for them up front, and then, if you want one, go get one custom made. That's probably cheaper. There you go. Yeah, it would be hard. Exactly. Exactly. Where'd you even source the fur? I mean, you just, well, go out and get it. No, faux fur is super easy to find. Super easy. Did you ever have a standoff with a mountain lion? Not a standoff. I have been around a mountain lion, yes. But I was with other people, and we had a camp, and it was just trying to see if there was food around, and when it saw the number of people, it did not, bother us. They just, you have, it's almost like bear spray. You have these different things to keep them at bay. We ended up just getting in a vehicle after a bit, or hiking back over to a vehicle. Yeah, they're expected. There's certain areas that have a lot of mountain lions, and if you're alone, it's a problem, but if you're in a group, it can be a lot better. I think the most dangerous animal that I've had to deal with, genuinely, is just wild boar. I will always say it. I will always say it. Wild boar are the worst. They're fucking assholes. They're enraged all the time. Imagine Monster Hunter monster enraged mode. That is literally how they are constantly. They're just angry. They look like they're doping constantly. Okay? And that is just how they naturally are, because that is what has allowed them to survive and thrive. Okay? Yeah, and they're tanks. They're tanks. They're huge. They're all meat and fat, and they're just, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy. Do you carry a gun during solo hikes? If you are licensed, you probably should, depending on where you're going. Yes. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, even if you have one, you're not safe. Something like a boar, you'll shoot it, and unless you hit it in a spot where it will immediately go down, it will just keep running. Like, it will just get you. You could shoot it in the face, and it'll keep running at you. So, that's why something similar, akin to bear spray, is actually more effective sometimes than just trying to hit them, because at least you could maybe get their eyes to not function right. They have to close them or something. Even then, they'll still keep going rather. So just go to those places with a vehicle. They'll probably still attack your vehicle. Oh, they're terrible, dude. They're the worst. You can rent a helicopter to mow them down in Texas, and they're still outbreeding the situation. Yeah, they're so resilient, man. They're crazy. I'm genuinely impressed. They're cool, like as a case study, but just don't be near them. Don't be near them. They'll just get angrier. Yeah, the more you do something to them, the angrier they get too. So it's just, they're some of the worst. They're some of the worst. And if you run into a wild boar, I just hope you never do, to be honest. I hope you never do. You saw a video where a hunter mag dumped into it and it was still charging into him. Yup, that's what I'm saying. You could boom in the fucking head and they would keep going. Like, you hope you just never get into a situation where you have to deal with it, to be honest. They're too strong. They're absolutely too strong. So he went with a boar for a butler. Yeah, well, he's well trained. He doesn't have all that anger in him. But when he needs to let it out, he comes alive. He comes alive. Yeah, he resists his natural urge to gore chat. Well, that's why we stay behind a screen. He'd never do that to me, but, you know, if he saw any of you and any of you were human in front of him, he'd probably take you the fuck out. You're not supposed to touch them barehanded because they have a ton of parasites. Yes, yes, they carry a lot of bad shit. They're kind of like cats in, like wild boar have really, really strong stomachs and almost nothing affects them. So they are often very disease ridden and it doesn't matter to them. They're fine. It's not really going to do much to them. Yeah, they eat everything. So yeah, you don't even want to handle them if you can avoid it. Are they considered a pest? Oh, in certain areas, not just certain, in a lot of areas, yeah, absolutely. They can destroy populations. They're crazy. They're crazy with it. It ran into a pack while on a walk in Arizona retirement community. It was a whole thing to avoid them. Yeah, you have to have absolute safety measures for it. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Yeah, fuck wild boar, dude. Of all animals to run into out in the wild, that's got to be like the one I absolutely never want to run into. Them and grizzlies, though. Grizzlies, I feel like there are ways to distract them. They're very aggro. Don't get me wrong. Grizzlies are incredibly aggro, but they're not as immediately aggro as a boar, and they're more food oriented, so you can kind of distract them with food a bit more and you know, get their attention off of you. Whereas a boar will just see you and be like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and then they just go. Right? But yeah, bears can be very scary. Black bears are little bitches, you know, like you should still be careful with them, but in comparison, you know, you could just be like, here's some food and throw it, and they'll be like, whoa, and they'll go to it. Or you get big and scream and they're like, I'm sorry. But you know, it's not always that simple. Obviously, pretend you're gonna get killed and take it seriously, but compared to grizzlies, much easier. Boars, no. Boars will just go rage mode. They don't even care if they get food. They're just trying to kill you straight up. They're so angry. It's their natural instinct to fight and keep their territory. It's so strong that it trumps their other instincts, and that's why they're so hard to deal with. Boars are like geese but pig. Oh yeah, geese and swans get nasty. Swans especially. They're shown as this beautiful, majestic animal. But have you actually just gone up to a swan? Ever? They'll try to fucking, like, beat you up. Yeah, they fucking kill people. They do. And, you know, not very easily in comparison,
Don't
but
listen
still.
To Boris, you're a good boy and I know you'd never hurt anyone. I love you, tee.
Yeah, okay. Keep glazing him. He's gonna eat those bits. Thanks for the snacks. You know, swans they're the damn devil. They are so fucking mean. Okay, one of my family members has a little bit of their property backing up to a lake. Not a nice lake, not an expensive lake, like a shitty one way in the back behind some forest, but there's some water. And, you know, they made a little trail to it so they could go and feed ducks and things. And at some point, some swans started shacking up in there. And one of the swans, one of my uncles, while visiting there, got bitten by one of the swans because it like straight up saw him and charged him and attacked him, and that thing had in its beak, oh my god, he was bleeding. He was like fucked up. He was bruised up. The thing, strategically, the way it moves, it's just so hard to deal with it. The way it juts its neck out and kicks at you. I mean, trying to not get hit by that is really hard. If you're not very dexterous, it's just crazy. Yeah, razor beak, literally. And he got fucked up. Just charge it though. I think people are afraid to hurt them, so they don't know what to do. But yeah, you actually just need to push them away. You just body slam them away. Their bodies are a bit more durable than you think. You just push that thing away. You've been attacked by wild turkeys? Oh yeah. People don't realize that turkeys fly. This is something that I realized as a hunter, is a lot of people who have not dealt with turkeys don't realize that they fly and they hang out in trees. They think they just walk around on the ground all day and that's it. They don't fly super high, obviously, and they don't fly for a long time because they're fucking huge. They're fat. They can't do that for very long. But they'll go up in the tree and roost a little bit. Yeah, and they jump. They do. And a turkey jumped down from a branch at one point while out on a hunt in front of someone and started being nasty. And they were like, Where'd he come from? They were so surprised. I was like, it's a bird. They go in the trees, dude. Just like push him. Just push him. You don't have to like try to kill him, but just push it. Push it hard enough that it decides maybe I shouldn't do that, and it leaves. And he was like so afraid to push it. He like gently pushed it, and it was like biting him. And I'm like, well, because you're like not doing anything to it. It nothing. It was so stupid. It was so dumb. I don't know. A lot of people think a turkey think of a Thanksgiving turkey, and wild turkey is like a quarter the size. It depends on them, but yeah, the ones that they keep in captivity typically are bred to be huge and provide a lot of food. So yeah, they're enormous. They're enormous, man. But wild turkeys can get big too. It just depends on, how much food they got. How much food they got in the area. Some are bigger, some areas smaller elsewhere. Hold on, I'm taking a vitamin D supplement. I ordered new ones. I got tiny ones. Tiny little vitamin D pill. Woo! I've always been deficient in vitamin D. like terribly so. Forever. No matter how much time I've spent outside, I've always had an issue with it. I gotta remember to not forget. I have to not forget to take it. Grouse are scariest? Grouse, really? I mean, well, you find a lot of them up north, like Canada, Alaska. I don't think they're that bad, but then again, anytime I've hunted a grouse, right? You're sort of ground stalking and hoping you see them either on the ground or up in a tree, just not too high up. It's typically been in areas that are colder and there's less life in general, so there's less noise going on, so you can hear very clearly when there's a grouse. They're pretty good. I think they taste pretty good. I like grouse, not as the animal, but as food, They are kind of assholes, yeah. You had sage grouse where you grew up? They acted like chickens balking around sagebrush. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. They're a good food source. They're pretty standard. If you're ever hiking, camping, whatever, way up north, right, in Canada or Alaska, there's not going to be a lot of food available. There's fish, there are grouse, maybe a moose if you're really far up there. And that's kind of it the farther north you go. So at least if the weather's a little warmer, you can have them for a bit, but you get used to it. You get used to looking at them and being like, red meat, the only red meat I'm going to get here, which is not real red meat, but, compared to fish. They're not dangerous, but when you get close, they're super loud when they fly away. Yeah. Yeah, they are. They're just birds. They're just fat birds. Absolutely. Sage grouse have giant booba. They do. Their bird breast is crazy. They're insane. Absolutely insane. I don't know. I like hunting. I miss it, but at the same time, I would have to go out very far away again all the time, and I'd have to go and hunt for days at a time, and I just schedule wise, I can't really be doing that often. I can't be doing that. And I know so many people that are hunters, and if I ever want meat cheap, throw in the freezer, I could just ask them, because they're always trying to offload excess, and anything that friends don't take, they just give to food pantries. So, like anything I want I could get, which is kind of the main reason why I did hunt anyway, was because I would just stock up. So, hunt local rodents. Yeah, I'll go hunt the sewer rats. Totally safe to eat for sure. Pizza rat would love that. For sure, man. Only hunting you do is in your games now. I like hunting as a hobby, because I'm very into conservation and I like animals, and you'd think that hunting is the opposite, but that's if you're dumb. And one of the most important things you can do is get hunters hunting the right things in the right areas to conserve the populations properly. And feels good to be helping with that. And then also taking that meat, and if you're not eating it yourself, always making sure it goes to food pantries. It's genuinely a great thing. And I just liked doing it. I liked doing it. It's part of nature conservation overall. It just has to happen. So Better to have people do it than to, you know, let everything go to shit. So I liked hunting a lot. And I like going out in nature, but I need to have a purpose. I need to be going for a specific hike, doing a specific trail, or needing a reason to just be out there on that land, and hunting is one of the better ways to do it. You don't have much dangerous fauna where you are, so you've never known the fear of the wilderness? That's nice. I've been in bad areas, nature-wise, many times, and I think you should be wary. I think you should have that sense. Definitely. Your cousin trains hunting dogs and leads hunts for people, and you bring you all the meat all the time. Yeah, yeah, it's nice to have someone that you know that does that. I had a friend who trained retrievers specifically for people that did duck hunting and things like that, quail hunting. And I was never too into duck and quail hunting. I think ducks are too cute, and I don't like killing them. But also, I don't like eating them as much. And I don't like that type of hunt, right? Where you just flush them out and shoot up into the air. It's okay. It's all right for me. I prefer like ground stalking an animal or something, or bigger hunts where you track for a long time. But I did like the dogs. I like watching them do their job, and they love it so much. They love running to flush them out, to flush the birds out of all the marshland and brush and stuff. Oh, they were so happy, like the happiest dogs ever. So I don't know. I always liked watching that. Yeah, they were for bird hunts like quail, pheasant, etc. Usually they are. Yeah, you don't really do too many dog assisted hunts for things that aren't that. You still can, but not that many people go on hunts for small game and need a retriever for it. Typically they don't. The main reason why you get a retriever for hunts like that is because they're getting dropped down into certain types of brush, or especially again into marshland and water. So having the dog rush out and get it, and then you just dry the dog off, is a lot better than the person in their hunting gear going into the water. It's kind of just not possible a lot of the time. So yeah, that's the main reason why you need them. But then small game, if you're just going for squirrels, going for grouse, you know, that are probably dropping into a, you know, normal forest area, you just go pick it up yourself, you know. So most people don't really train hunting dogs for stuff outside of birds and such. Or sometimes they will train them for tracking, but not the retrieval part specifically. So I always liked that. That's when you legitimately, that's when you get a straight up a bloodhound or another tracking dog, and you go out there. I knew one guy that owned a lodge and had a purebred bloodhound, and this thing was insane. He would we'd have a certain type of game we were going for, and he would make sure it was very familiar with that scent. Someone shoots, takes their shot, and he'd be like, all right, go track it, and this dog would find it every time. You didn't have to try. You did not have to try to track it. They would just be like, here's some blood smell, go find it. It was so fast, dude. I don't know how it did it. It was well, I mean, I do know, but like the extent to which it was great at it compared to other dogs I've seen is crazy. Should you bow hunting ever? Sometimes it depends on what you're hunting. Depend on what permit I had for what season, for what thing, because you know, when you hunt, you get a specific permit, and they say, okay, you can get this many of this thing, here are your tags for them. You can only hunt during this season in this way. A difficult one, for example, is if you want to do muzzle loading. They'll give you like a 2-3 week period. It depends on where you are, but 2-3 week period, and say at this time of year you can do this in these regions, in these zones, and in those zones you can do muzzle loading for this 1 week period. It's very like short. So it just depended on when I was going out where and what was allowed to be done, and that's what I would do. But I did all of it pretty much. Everything at least once. Gotta get so much closer, though, is probably a good thing. Yeah, they're more likely to give out permits for that and not gun shooting or gun hunting, because if a population's a little lower and they're not trying to reduce the population too much, they need to basically balance it. Think of it like game balancing. They don't want too many people going out there and getting easier kills. And so they'll give out fewer tags, and they'll say, let's not allow rifles as much. Let's have the bow season be a little longer, right? Things like that. And that way the number of people that want to go out there and try can still go out there and try, but their likelihood of actually getting something is lower, along with them just having fewer tags in general, so you can't even bring back any anyway. So yeah, they literally nerfed them for this. It's literally balancing. It's really interesting how that all works. They have something like that for night vision. What do you mean? Like when hunting? People, you don't use anything for night vision when hunting. You go out and track when it's light because you need to be able to see the colors of things. If you're doing a blood trail, for example, you need to be able to see the blood. And you would just use flashlights for that. Using night vision typically greens or grays everything out, so you can't like track properly. Um, you can use thermals sometimes to find things, but if you have to use thermals, it's too dark and you're probably not hunting at that time anyway. It's really just tracking that you might do something in the dark. And then, I mean, realistically, you are waking up, you're going out there without any tech like that. You're waking up at 2, 3 a.m. and getting set up somewhere. Maybe later if you're, it's a colder season, shorter days. And you wait somewhere and you wait for dawn. And when the sun hasn't risen yet, but there's dawn is just starting, the light is starting to kind of crest over. Not the direct light, not the sun itself, but some light is starting to hit. That's when a lot of animals start waking up. And they start getting up and immediately looking for water, looking for food, and they follow their little trails to their spots. So you tend to get set up in the dark, but then the hunt itself, when you're trying to take your shot and everything, is when there's kind of the break of dawn. So yeah. A lot of states it's illegal to hunt after sundown. Yeah, because then you might hurt a person. At least in daylight, everyone's wearing camo, but they usually have some parts on them that are flame orange or blaze orange, depending on what you want to call it. And that makes you very visible to other people because a lot of animals cannot see that color or cannot make the distinction between that and green. So you're safe, you're fine. If you try to hunt at night, you're not going to be able to tell when someone way off. First of all, you won't even see them. Second of all, even if you do, you might not be able to tell it's a person because you can't make the colors out. So it's not safe and you're just not allowed to hunt at night, typically. You can go night fishing, though, in a lot of places. You can go night fishing and be on a boat. And there are certain types of things that only come out at night, certain types of eel, stuff like that. So that's fine usually. But it depends on where you are. It depends on what you're going for. But, yeah. Can you get a hunting license for spear hunting? So it's not for generic spear hunting. It's what game you're going for, and then the caveat of what you're hunting it with is the way they categorize that. So if you want to spear hunt a boar, let's say, you'll go to a place and try to get a tag for boar, and then you see if they have a season where you're allowed to hunt with spear. And if they do, you apply for that thing and see if you get a tag. It's like really, it's in that order, pretty much. So you go to area, look for a specific game that you can get in that area, and then how you're able to get it and during what seasons. Best part about being on a boat is that everyone else isn't on a boat. Yeah, I liked fishing, but I was never into fishing as much as hunting because fishing is a lot of waiting, but you're on a boat. And then hunting is a lot of waiting, but you're in a tree stand or you're sitting around and you're like looking and you're waiting for sounds and stuff. Fishing is straight up waiting and you're not really looking for too many signs of fish. You look for signs and then you set up there. Hunting, you're actually looking for signs of things because you're then going to aim at it and try to take a shot or something like that, and it just it's a little more active. And you're also setting up along trails, stuff like that, and I like tracking in that part of it. I had to grab the new shirt and poster for this outfit. Woo! I'm glad you did. We have 2 thresholds. There you can get free shipping, and it's one threshold is for free US shipping, domestic shipping, I should say. And the other one is free international shipping. And I don't remember what the numbers are. I think domestic was like 90 and international might have been around 140, something like that. But yeah, it should help some people because I know some, depending on where you live, shipping can be really expensive. So yeah, Canadian was definitely not free. Yeah, and it's the threshold, depends on how much you order, for sure. But I made sure that even if it had to be a lot, as long as we were able to offer it in some way, we could. So, yeah. Bought the standee. Yeah, I have to get all mine sent to me. I got to see all the samples and everything, but, a proper final that was produced with the batch of all the final stuff. I want to get one of each. So, and if I look to my right, I have a cabinet, a glass cabinet with everything kind of set up in there, and I have space for it, ready to go. You ordered 280 worth? Oh my god, did you get everything? Or did you probably got stuff from the older lines too that we have some stock of left. Yeah. Desk mat for Magic the Gathering. Yeah, I use when playing games, I use my own desk mats for that. But I usually use them as my actual desk mat for a little bit, and once I start to wear a little spot of it down just a little, or some threading, you know, like I'm just like overusing it, I retire it and I swap it for another one. So right now, while I wait for the new one to come to me, I'm actually using a desk mat that I have that's Outer Wilds themed. I have one of my brothers got me an Outer Wilds desk mat a while back. I don't know if you've seen it. It's the one that you know the brand Fangamer? They do a lot of merch for a lot of games. It's the one that they have. So I have that one here, and I'm just using this until I get my new one. Because the one I had before this was my old one, the red one, but I had like really worn down one edge of it, and I didn't want to ruin it. You know, I wanted to be able to still look at it and be like, wow, that's my desk mat, that's my merch, you know. So I retired that one. Yeah. You like their stuff? I was looking into maybe working with that company. I like their stuff too. He got it for me. My brother got this desk mat for me, not just because he knew I would like it, but also because I had said something about the company, and I was like, they seem good to work with. And he was like, why don't I, you know what? I'm just gonna get her something from there, from a game that she likes, so she can also check the product quality, you know. So yeah. So far, anything I've had from them, I've been pretty happy with. Not gonna lie. Got the Haze desk mat from them. Yeah, their quality's nice. So yeah, GDQ use them. Yeah, exactly. A lot of companies and game devs use them. I don't think they work with creators as much as they work with games. Not that they won't, but that's just the market they're in. So I look at that and I'm like, keeping them in mind. Keeping them in mind. Because I'm, you know, Vishojo at this point, we're doing great with our merch stuff and everything. But if I want to make merch of like the faction stuff, that's separate. That's a separate IP. So I would do it probably through someone else. So, you know, I keep my eyes open. I keep myself looking around just in case. The Hollow Knight Grub plush held up well. Yeah, their plushies seem good too. Like everything seems nice. So, you know, I'm keeping them on the side there. I just don't know, like, what are their cuts? What if they're like, yeah, for every purchase you get 1 cent? You know what I mean? Like, hey, your quality's great, but I'll spend all this time and make negative money, you know? So I gotta make sure I at least break even. So I'll check in on them. But they seem good. They seem nice. You want an apron? You want apron merch? Would you guys actually want apron merch, or is that one person that wants one? I feel like it'd be cute, but how many people would really use it? I don't know. It's hard to think of merch items because a lot of them have been done already. And guys, how many mugs? Actually, no, I think mugs are good. It's more the travel mugs, right? And the cups and things that are meant for going outside with. How many more of those do you need? Really? If it's a collectible, people just want more of them, right? When it's something like a standee, stickers, people will just get more of those. But when it's something like that, like how many? And maybe it's just me. Maybe other people are like, oh, I'd love 1 billion. You have 2,000 tote bags. Yeah. Yeah. Ceramic or tin camping mug I'd buy. Right. That's what I think regular ceramic mugs and cups people like. Glasses people like. But the typical just thermos, I mean, I'll do it. But I can't do one every merch drop. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't. I could do one maybe once a year, but if I have like 3 merch drops in the year, I couldn't do one every time. You know, you have to try and swap it up and at least let people use their thing first before the next one comes out. So there's a lot where I try to think of some merch we can do, but you know, certain things you just can't do too often. For sure. Everyone gives you tumblers at conventions and that shit. Yeah, I feel like every event you go to gives you a grab bag, and they're like, "Oh, here's our goodie bag for showing up." And there's a little towel, a microfiber towel. There's a glasses cleaner. There's a, like the same three things every time. A little backpack, a tiny drawstring backpack, etc., etc. I don't know. Faction sports flags or foam fingers. I love that, but when would you use it? I love it as merch for display, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe, possibly, but it's gotta be like, it's gotta make sense. Though then again, do something like that where it's like a fan package, right? Let's say you guys ever go to a really big soccer match and you see people decked out in their teams, everything. They've got the jersey, they got the towel, they've got a flag, they've got, foam fingers, they've everything on them. Everything they're wearing, everything they own has to do with the team. I think doing stuff like that, a package of that, but for per faction would be really fun. Yeah, yeah, a vuvuzela for your team, exactly. I think that would be really funny. That would be good. I like that. I like it. Are there any official visual skins in any games? A bunch of the girls have Smite skins. And then, what else do we have? There have been a couple small things, but it's per person. It's not like usually a group thing. I feel like there was something else. Was there something else? I don't know. I was in a game, but the game isn't around anymore. I was in a game while it was live. That's called Screaming Chicken, and that wasn't a Vishojo thing. That was just me. And you could put on a skin. It was a really fun party game. I loved that game. But yeah, yeah, I liked it. Oh, Goose Goose Duck. Yeah, no, those are personal skins just for ourselves to use. They're not like public skins that you can get. I would like that though. I mean, that's something that I always wanted. If anyone wants to put me in their game, I would absolutely love to do that. I am so down. I'm so down. For sure. Trying to think of other VTubers that are in games. Not many. Not many. I feel like to get in a game, it's a lot of resources that the people making the game have to put in to make a skin happen. And then if they want to put you in some sort of game where they do a lot of skins, typically those games have huge brand collabs. Think of something like Fortnite, okay? They have Marvel characters in there. Huge brands, huge IPs. Why would they work with us? You know what I mean? Like, we're small fish comparatively. I would love if they did, but they could go with us, or they could be like Hatsune Miku and then put Miku in Fortnite. So, you know, I just feel like it's tough. And then you have games that are maybe a little smaller, maybe make a little bit less money, a little less brand power, but not small. They might work with us, but why would they? Why would they when they could just be like, oh, we have this one skin and it's fall themed and everyone will eat it up? Like, do they get much out of working with us specifically? It's just cool, which means they have to do it because they like us. The TLDR is it's not a money thing. It's just we do it because it's cool and fun. And not many companies are willing to put in a lot of extra effort to do a thing like that and write up legal documentation because it's cool and fun, So I would like to do it, but they have to be willing to put the effort in, knowing it's not really going to be any different than them doing less effort and putting out something to make the same money. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Definitely have to be an indie dev getting big and being into tubers. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. I mean, I'm down. I'm always down if they're willing. But it just depends. It just depends. Fortnite has crazy amounts of skin licenses. Yeah, whatever they've got going on legally, whatever pipeline they have to make sure that that can happen is really good. Really, really good. I don't know how it's so smooth, but it's so smooth. They got a piece of paper that they throw in front of somebody and they go, here's the thing. Airtight. And you go, okay. And they make a skin. Boom. It's like surprisingly quick, the process. I feel like if they did a Fortnite skin, they would just do mouse. It wouldn't be like a Vishojo thing, to be honest. I feel like if they are doing streamer skins at all, it would maybe just be mouse, most likely. And I hope it happens, to be honest. I really do. That would be cool as hell. But I don't think they would do like all of these shows or something like that. Maybe references to us if they have a package of other items, but that would be it. But I'd love to see. Have they done? Have they done creator skins very much? Let me see. I feel like it makes sense for them to do skins of people that played the game a lot. Yeah, Ninja's example, right? Oh yeah, they had Mr. Beast and then they had anime Mr. Beast. They had like these two skins and one was him looking like a guy and then the other one was him looking like a guy but anime. And I was like, why did you do him like that? Because now the normal guy looks normal and everyone uses the anime one because his eyes are bigger and they're like, wow, he looks great. It's kind of weird. I don't know why they did that. Um They have the what is this called? Hold on, I'm trying to look through their creator skins. I can't find a nice list. It looks like they do actually have a good number of things related to creators. Maybe they would do Vishojo. I don't know. Do we have a Fortnite Connect? They also have like Billie Eilish and shit, you know, so they go crazy with it. They probably would work with anyone of any size as long as you have any audience, just enough over a threshold, because they could just pump out a lot of these. To be honest, who knows, man? Mouse and the other girls' color palettes. Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, I'm aware Smite did Vishojo skins. I just said it before. We were just talking about it. We just did. Stuff like that is difficult though, because then it's like it's a group-wide contract and they end up with a company contract. And then there's also a broken out individual contract for each person that they have to sign to be like, yeah, I'm cool with doing this. And it's a big process versus if they just approach one creator separately about doing it. So it's a lot more legal hurdles to go through. And it's not a bad thing in any way. It just is more work because of the way the agreement is. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. But hey, if they did that, I'd play a little Fortnite every day. We'd end every stream with like, you know, a couple matches of me playing as myself in Fortnite. Hands down, 100%. I would do it. Open lobby. Sad the skins weren't carrying into Smite 2. Yeah, I don't think they carried a lot of stuff into Smite 2. For the most part. I don't think so, at least. I never played too much Smite, but I like the game. I played a little bit, and I enjoyed it. I did. No, they haven't added Mouse to Fortnite. That's what I was saying. I wish they would add her. Like, I don't know if they would ever do a group-wide thing, or with even, like, some of our members, but I really wish they would add Mouse. It'd be cool as hell. Cool as hell. You started playing it recently with friends, and it's pretty fun and no build. Yeah, I really like no build. It's genuinely just a fun, lightweight battle royale to play. Straight up. It's just fun and good. I don't like playing it with build on because I hate having to learn the build mechanics, and I don't want to. I just don't want to. I hate that a kid genuinely will run up there and start cranking 90s, and no, it's not fun for me. But if you can't build, it's really good. It's a good game. So, it's just fun. You're surprised they haven't had any Soulsborne characters in Fortnite? You know, I think Japanese IPs are really hard to work with for things like that. Their copyright laws and IP law is really, really different from Western stuff and very locked down. So you might see something occasionally like Miku, but it's going to be rare. So I'm not surprised at all, to be honest. Not one bit. You hate when they build a whole hotel where you're shooting at them? Yeah, they build a tower into the sky in 3 seconds. It's crazy. Absolutely insane. Yeah, Japan IP copyright laws are a nightmare. It's so true. It's very... I think the laws are easier in the US, or in the West in general, but in the US. but also people tend to leave things vague because it's a little easier, and they don't really lock things down the way they should. I was just talking about VTubers yesterday, I think, or the day before rather, not doing that properly. There's a lot more room for error because of it. So, I don't know. Manage it with stuff like Naruto and DBZ. Yes, I'm just saying that'll happen much less often than look at the number of Western brands they've worked with in comparison. So, you know, it's tough. It's tough. And I think the people you will see, or the brands you will see work with Fortnite, will be ones that already are used to being popular in the West and working with IP law in the West a ton. You're not going to see their first ever thing being a Fortnite collab. Their first ever Western collab being a Fortnite collab. It's just not going to happen. That's just how it is, man. That's how it is. Yeah, we can make Master Chief and Solid Snake to the Miku Miku Beam. Exactly. Exactly. I like playing as Doom Guy when I play Fortnite. I'm just Doom Guy the whole time. I love it. Or goated skin, the Green Goblin. There's a Green Goblin skin that looks so stupid, and I really like it. I really like it. Or Blade, the classic. You're not going to see any Nintendo IPs in Fortnite? Oh, I highly doubt it. Not saying it's impossible, but probably not. Probably not.
Do your I want a Henya skin for Warzone faction redeems chat?
Put us in Call of Duty. Well, that's the other thing is, there are a lot of games where we would not fit well as skins, right? Something that's like a realistic war simulator, and then you put some anime girl in it. Compared to other models next to it that are supposed to go for realism, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work at all. So there's some games we could work in. Fortnite, absolutely. Others, not so much. Not so much. It would be funny as fuck. It would be. I think it'd be easier to do maybe weapon skins or something. Oh, hi, Nucky. He tried to jump up on my desk, but he kind of missed, so he stopped halfway. Oh, he's gonna try and block me. No, you can't. Where are you going? Lucky you're blocking. You know, the past week he's been on some shit. He's been on some shit. Sad you weren't part of the Smite collab. I wasn't in the group. I wasn't in VShojo. So, not at that time. I joined... Not a year later. I joined... What, that happened... at the beginning of that year, and then I joined... Did I join that September? Or did I join the year after? No, I joined that September. Yeah, I was way after. Less than a year later, but still, you know, quite a while. I should have waited for you. No, contracts like that take a really long time to get done. That thing was in the works for forever. I don't know any timelines specifically, but like I just know that was a thing that took forever. As they do. So, no. No, they would never wait for me. Ooh, skin for Bloodstained. Some people have made fan ones. I know someone made a mod where you could play as me as in Noida, as the main character. The player character. So there are people that make fan-made things. It's not really an official skin, but, you know, for a lot of indie games, it's not too bad, especially if it's pixel art, you know? Sorry, my cat is doing a thing. Nucky, you are gonna sit here. Not on my desk, but here. Go. Go. I brought up a little cat tree to put next to myself for him to sit in because he's really been like, he's been getting extra, you know, jumpy on my desk and everything. More than usual past week. So I brought up a cat tree for him and he keeps just jumping past it. He's like, no, I want to go on your desk. So I have to push him onto it, and then he sits and he goes, oh, wait, this is nice, and realizes. But I have to guide him to it every time. Because he's just trying to be annoying. He's trying to get me to feed him or something, you know? That's really what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, he has been on some shit. I don't know. About VShojo Balatro cards. I think you could, for Balatro, you could probably Do do people mod Balatro much? I don't know how the dev feels on that, and I don't know if people do that a lot. Do they? I just haven't looked into it tons. Base game is so good I haven't had to worry about mods. Well, then make a Mishonjo deck. Go ahead. Go ahead and do it. Easy. Easy. Yeah, I think my cat's trying to get me to feed him. It's not time. I have an automatic feeder set up, so when I'm streaming and everything, I can still feed them on time. If something's going on, I'm not gonna get up to go feed them or whatever. So I shouldn't have to worry. And they sleep while I stream, and then we hang out outside of it. So he's just trying to he's trying to get food like an hour and a half. Not even an hour and a half. Yeah, an hour and a half early. They're always like this throughout the winter because it gets dark so quickly, and I think they know when to get fed based off of daylight. That's how they time their day. I don't know. I don't know. Can VShojo afford to partner with the Piggy 18 game like Balatro? Kind of a brand risk amount. It's not a brand risk. Okay, here's the thing. No matter how anyone views it, that game is not about gambling. There are no gambling mechanics in the game. Poker is a game that you can play. It is a card game that you can play, and you don't have to do any gambling relating to it at all. You simply play hands and you play a game. That being said, Balatro is not poker. Balatro mechanically plays like Yahtzee. It has nothing to do with poker other than using the hands as the hands you're making. There is no gambling. The only thing that makes the game of poker, not Balatro, but the game of poker maybe have something to do with gambling is if you bet. If you bet, the betting part of it could be gambling. You can also play the game and not bet anything the whole time. And a lot of games are like that. You can play a lot of things and just simply not bet, and it's not gambling. So never blame certain games themselves on it and be like, this game is gambling. It's more that people use it as a thing, a backdrop, and then gamble on top of it. Same way horse races. People bet on horse races all the time. That horse race has nothing to do with the gambling. The betting part of it is the gambling, right? So I don't like that they are marking Balatro like it has anything to do with gambling when it has literally nothing to do with it. And like when you said the dev talked about it and he hates gambling so much. And he made the game specifically, it's a roguelike. There's no real money exchange. There's no currency that you even keep between runs. You just do a simple run. You don't even keep the chips in the game. You do a run and it gives you a value based off how good the hands you played were to know if you get to the next level. It's like literally nothing to do with gambling. It's crazy. And I just show that's how bad a lot of people around gaming, not in gaming, but around gaming are when they come to consensuses on deciding how they want to rate a game or something like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. The dev has it written into his will that Balatro can never be used at casinos. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. People gamble on anything. People literally will. So, the betting part is the part that's the actual gamble, and there's none of that in that game. So I hate that they do that, But the other thing is, I also want to say, anything that is 18 plus, you understand we have a member of VShojo that literally just does adult content, right? So, like, I don't think that's a brand risk, I understand if you're saying Peggy 18 as in, like, the gambling part of it. Yeah, no, I get that. But, like, in general, like, generalized 18 plus content, we already have someone who does that type of content. So, and I won't tell you where, but, yeah, she's a yoga master. Exactly. So, yeah, they're goofy misclassification. Exactly. I know what you mean. It's very, it's misclassified, and I'm not worried about that. Because I know it's not what the game's actually about. For sure. That member is the reason it exists, kinda. Not kinda, she literally just made the group. We talked about it in my Giga Chat episode. Ooh! Where I talk to people and podcast with them and post it on my YouTube. And I will get the link to the video right now. The video is even, oh, you can hear it. That's me talking. It's called Why Project Melody is VShojo's Real Founder. Ooh. Boom. Is there a new one coming out soon? I'm filming some right now. Within this next week. It was really hard to get people to... I was trying to get them to film a while back, but like over the holiday time, all of December basically, I was kind of locked out of filming with anyone. No one was available. So this month, I have a bunch of filming sessions set up. So... But yeah, she talks about it more in that episode. All right, there we go. Michi wants to steal your favorite because she didn't remember any of it. She doesn't remember anything of anything. Yeah. So YouTube, you mentioned a project with the Nova members around their debut time. Is that coming out soon? Hopefully, yeah. I've just had to have people work on editing it that speak Japanese. So that's, you know, there's a bit more back and forth with that, but yeah. Absolutely. We're also planning on doing, I have to find it, but we're planning on doing a Nova collab sometime soon. We want to play a game with a bunch of people together. They've been wanting to do that, and we were just trying to find a good day. A lot of us have to stay up late to be able to do that, and that's okay. Like, I'll do it. I stay up really late anyway. But other members, not so much, so... We're trying to find a day where it makes sense. But Hesty was pinging us in the Discord to see. So we're trying to set something up. Actually, let me look at that. Let me check on that. Yeah, it should be very soon. We'll announce it once we have enough people that have confirmed and all that. But yeah, it should be soon. Should be soon. Forgot that podcast exists because I only watch it on Twitch. A lot of people do. I think most people are like platform specific, if I'm being honest. Some people will watch us heavily on Twitch, but then when they go to YouTube, they have a totally different algo. And vice versa. You know, it's just how it is. There's some people that only watch my YouTube content and never watch my streams. That's why some stuff that I make on YouTube will be stuff that I just don't even like do that much of on stream, because it's just a different group of people. And there's still a good amount of overlap, don't get me wrong, but most people are just kind of one or the other. Most of them. You should by any chance try to bridge the JP Talent content to non-Japanese speakers. Their content? I mean, the thing with VShojo is it's on the talent to decide how they want to do stuff like that. The company doesn't make that happen. It's more like if you want to do something like that and you say, I want help with this sort of project because I want to appeal to non-Japanese speakers, then they'll try to help you do whatever it is. So you could be like, hey, I need a really good auto-translating tool. Can you help me find one? How do I set it up? They'll help you set that up. If you make videos and you say, hey, can you get me an editor who is bilingual? Because I want to put out videos and have them have both translated right there.
I love this new
Thank you
form.
for the bits.
It's not even your final
Thank you so much for the bits.
But it
I
provides me
appreciate
with added protection from
I always
Golden
forget about that.
Corral.
Yeah.
You'd be proud of me. I resisted while on the road recently.
Yeah, just don't fucking eat there, dude. I tell you every time, don't fucking eat there. Don't do it, you'll die. Anyway, yeah, it's on the talent. So, for me, I wanted to make my videos that I do with Nova, anything that I do, something where it is translated into Japanese as well. And the thing is, most of the video is them talking. It's not about me, you know? So I needed to get an editor that I can talk to about edits in English, but also speaks Japanese, so they can do the edits. They can cut the footage down and know what the people are even saying and all that, right? So, that took some time. That took some time, but it's good. It's good. It's someone I've worked with before, and I like working with them, so we're chilling. But if a Nova member is like, oh yeah, I want to appeal to a Western crowd a bit more too. I want like them to be able to understand what I'm saying. They have to sit there and decide what they want to do about that, and then they'll be given the resources to try and do it. You know what I mean? And then it's on them if they want to reach out and they're like, hey, I want to do a collab with one of the English members even though I don't speak English. They just have to ask, you know what I mean? And vice versa, we just have to ask them. So like that video that I wanted to do, I just asked them. I was like, hey, sometime before your debut, I know you're busy, but can you sit down and film with me for this? And they were like, okay. That was it. That was all my decision, not like something where the company was like, you should do videos, you know? Like that. Didn't realize Hesty spoke English so well. Oh yeah, no, Hesty's English is perfect. Practically perfect. Absolutely. She always says it's not her first language. You know, but I don't think I could have a conversation with her and have her not understand something I'm saying. Like, it would be so hard. I'd be hard pressed to try to find maybe a specific word she doesn't know would be easy, but like for her to not get the understanding of anything I'm saying, her fluency is really good. You have Nagi in the background when working because you like her voice. No idea what she's talking about. Me. Me. There are a lot of individual words I know, or there are a lot of words in Korean and Japanese have the same root sound to them, so I can kind of understand what they're saying for some things, or I can assume. I'm not very sure about it, but I can assume. So I listen in, and I can get a lot of words. Sometimes I can get the context from that based off of the order of what words I just heard. Sometimes I cannot. I just recognize a word and I go, well, she said a sentence and that was in it. You know? So, but I still listen anyway. Like, shojiki. Shojiki is like, honestly, something something. Soljiki is how you say it in Korean. Soljiki. Like S-O-L, soljiki, right? That's really similar to shojiki. So I didn't know that that's how you said it in Japanese at all. I just heard Henya say it at some point, and then I asked her later, is this how you say this thing? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. I just assumed because it sounds similar. And that's it. So, you know, when I'm like listening to the Japanese members, there will be a lot of words like that where I think I know it is, but she could have been like, nah, that means fish. And I'd be like, oh, you know? Yeah, kabang is bag in Korean. Exactly. So a lot of words like that kind of, it's like English and Spanish, right? Come from the same root, but also plenty of things that are different. So, like dog is inu in Japanese, but then it's ke in Korean. So, you know, like it has nothing to do with anything. Pan and bang, it's bang for Korean. BBANG, bang. This is kind of similar, but kind of not. I don't know. But at least I can understand some words. So when they were sitting there and we were doing our video together and we were filming, I actually understood a lot of what they did say. We had a translator with us that was sitting there and saying back and forth to each other, you know, what each person was saying in their language to the other. But I understood the context of a lot of what they said because I knew what question I asked, and then I heard certain words and I was like, okay, she's saying this. So it was kind of interesting. Very interesting. Isn't bread in Spanish similar as well? Yeah, well, because it's like initially in French, it's pan. So, you know. Nova helps you through the workday. I like it in the morning. I wake up and I'm trying to get myself to wake up. So I'm just doing tasks around the house and stuff. And there's usually a Nova member or two live. I just put them on my TV and I go and do whatever tasks I need to do. And I just hear I hear Peke, you know, in the background.
Bread. Pain in English is ranked League of Legends.
Wow, the similarities. Wow. You know, making bread is also pain. You ever make bread from scratch? Certain ones easy, certain ones, holy shit. Impossible to get consistent. Impossible. Absolutely terrible. But yeah, I do listen to pretty much everyone. I spend my life on Twitch. I'm either streaming or I'm in someone else's stream, listening to them on the side. Constantly. Even if I'm doing chores around the house, I usually leave a stream on. Maybe sometimes a YouTube video, but pretty often it's just a stream. Always. And if I need to lock in and focus, I'll put on someone who doesn't speak English, so I'm not paying attention to their words as much. I can't really get distracted, and that helps. Ever mix up from words from different languages? Yeah. When I tried to learn some Japanese a long time ago, I gave up quickly because I kept conflating words with ones that I already knew in Korean, and I just I couldn't speak quickly. I couldn't form sentences quickly because if I tried to speak naturally and not think about it for a long time beforehand, the wrong language would come out. And that sucked. And I was like, I don't want to learn this now. So I wanted to wait. I think at this point it'd be fine, but it was tough. It was tough. Even when I was doing the video with them, saying things like a member says something and I understand it, and instead of something in Japanese, I had to stop myself from being like, oh, 맞아요, and saying stuff like that. Oh, 맞다. Like all these things you'd say like, oh, that's right. While someone's talking, be like, all right, I get it. I had to stop myself from doing that because like my brain was like, do this now, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's the wrong language. I just know, but like you naturally do it, so it's tough, especially when a lot of the words that they're saying are ones that I recognize. It's not the same language, but it's the same exact roots. It's hard to get your brain out of that zone because you keep hearing really familiar words. So I had to, stop myself and just be like, okay, I'll just be here. I don't know. It can be tough, man. It can be tough. You want to learn Japanese before you go back again? Yeah, but at the same time, Japan, it's nice to learn the language, but so many things are so friendly to travelers. You really don't have to. It's nice to do so, but if you're not good with it, they'll just be like, hey, that's nice. You don't have to do that, though. Anyway, and then they start speaking English. So it's nice, but don't feel pressure like you have to. Do any of them speak some Korean? No. Not that I'm aware of. None of the members did. But there were a couple of them were asking because at some point they said something and the translator's like, they said, and I was like, oh, I know. And then I just answered back to them. And they were like, wait, does she understand us? And he had to explain to them. He was like, well, no, she just knows Korean, so she's able to get the gist of a lot of what you're saying. And they were all like, oh wow, cool. And none of them said anything in Korean, so I don't think any of them speak it. They were like, oh, great. I can't though. That's just how it is. You tried Japanese in high school, didn't go well. It's tough. It's high school. Learning an Asian language in high school is usually, it's rough unless you go specifically, like you're learning Mandarin, you go to Chinese school, for example. You go to a specific place for that. Or a lot of Korean kids will go to Korean churches and things and speak there. They usually have some sort of supplement. When you try to just bare bones learn it in school alone, and you don't have that reinforcement outside of it, that can be really difficult. And it's hard. And at least if you learn something like Spanish, there are chances to use that in daily life if you're in America. There are chances to see and hear things and have it reinforced. But with the other ones, not so much, So it can be tough, man. Your one regret was not going full weeb and didn't pursue learning Japanese. I think a lot of people felt at the time in school, they felt like they didn't want to go full weeb because they didn't want to get made fun of. They didn't want to be that guy, And then later in life, the older you get, the less you care about things like that. The more you're like, nah, it's just cool to learn a language. And a lot of people have regrets. For sure. I personally still think it's better if you're, depending on where you live, to just learn Spanish because it's so widely used in the US, especially, and in the West. I still think it's just better because the number of times I've been able to help someone out with something because I was able to understand what they were saying is a lot higher, So I still think that's good. But, that's just me being practical. That's me being practical. I do think it's good to learn something like, if you're going to learn an Asian language, I think you should learn Mandarin personally. Just saying. I think that's the one you should actually try to learn because it's so commonly used. But, if you're going to interact with certain type of media a lot, okay, yeah, learn it. Learn it because you want to. Fuck it. Do it. Just do it. Your grade school had 4 mandatory languages. It's easier to learn more after you've learned 1 or 2, I find. the more you learn, I feel like you've flexed that part of your brain that learns language and picks up language, and you just have an easier time absorbing more over, over time as you go on. Mandarin's the most used language, also among the most difficult to learn. Yes and no. I think the reading and writing is doo-doo level hard. It's like nightmare mode. Speaking ain't the worst. It's the tonality of the language that fucks people up. But baseline, I don't think it's as bad as people make it sound. I think what it is there are certain people that just cannot understand the whole idea of tones and cannot replicate them, so they give up. But if you can do that even a little bit, it's really not that hard of a language, in my opinion. I think it's actually quite simple. I think they leave out a lot of fluff and excess words that we use in English. And it's very matter of fact and very statement forward. It's I think it's just easier and it feels more efficient. I feel like you say fewer syllables rather to say the same thing. So, I actually don't think it's that bad, to be honest. I don't know. Your dad tried pushing you to learn Mandarin, saying it was the language of the future, but you feel like you see English more often in other countries, plus complicated characters scare you. I think because of how forward the West is in a lot of things with tech, whatever, I think, yeah, we're just going to keep using English forever. I think, English is going to be the way. It's also already widely used. For example, in India, so many people speak English because it was a British colony for so long. And this country with a huge population, and that is huge in tech work, huge IT industry, a lot of them are speaking baseline conversational English. Like, that's just how it is, right? Like, it's already kind of set up that way. Because people will be like, why don't people learn Hindi and Urdu and things like that, because there's so many people in India, but a lot of them already speak English because of, their history with the West. So, I think English has kind of established its foothold already. Also, yeah, Mandarin's hard, and not a lot of people, they have this impression that they can't learn it, so they're not trying to. And I think because of that attitude toward it, that's why it won't be the language, I don't think, that everyone uses. Don't say that, Hoshi. You can't say that here. Said my ass is so big. You can't say that. That is large. In Korean, it's te. Te. In Japanese, it's tai. Wow, so similar. Wowee. It's almost like they're all based on the same roots. Wow. You're Chinese, you only know Canto instead of Mandarin? Okay, Canto's nightmare mode. the number of unique tones and the complicated nature of writing is just, I can't do it. I won't touch it. I will not touch it. It's terrible. Hey, thank you for the bits. Thank you. Thank you so much for the bits. I appreciate that very much. Very much. You say he's a hakao shumai. You're just, yeah, me when I go to dim sum and I'm like, yeah, I speak Canto and I just say the names of the dishes. That's literally everyone I know. When I'm like, do you know any Cantonese? They're like, yeah, check this out. And they always just name 8 things you find at dim sum every time. So stupid. So dumb. He said, isn't Korean not related to at all to Japanese Chinese? No, completely incorrect. Oh, we have someone whose name is in Korean right there. Kurim like cloud. No, we have so Korean is based on Chinese initially. It is settled by Han Chinese people at first, a very long time ago, and then became its own thing. And the thing is, their writing system is completely unrelated. Their writing system is only like a couple hundred years old. It's really not old. It's a very modern day compared to others writing system. So Korean letters, the Korean alphabet that they write with, was created within the past couple hundred years. by King Sejong. And the reason why he did it is because their writing system before that was actually with Chinese characters. It was called Hanja. It's kind of like kanji in Japanese, where they're using traditional Chinese characters and then reading it in Japanese. They're using the same meaning of the symbol, but saying it with their phonetic word, right? So Korean was like that. It was written all in Hanja, and it was Chinese characters. And it was a mixture of them really wanting to break away from that to have their own identity. The emperor thinking that was, or is it the king, thinking that was really important. And then also them just wanting a language that was phonetic. Straight up, just looking at other Western languages that were coming in and enjoying that phonetic system to keep their Korean language moving forward in a modern world. They felt like they had to do that. So King Sejong sat down with some scholars, and they sat around and they made a written language. And it is one of the most modern written languages, because it was done recently. Thank you so much for that $10. Thank you for the donut pocket. I appreciate that. But yeah, so their phonetic language was made for a much more recent version of Korean. And it is really simple. It's one of the easiest languages to learn how to read. Maybe not to understand, but to be able to phonetically look at the letters and say it. It's so easy. It's so easy. So that makes studying easier. And yeah, and that's why in general they have a really different looking written language, but it's not, everything about the language is still based on the same things that it was based on previously. It's just that they were like, we need to write with normal letters. No, Dookie, that's not why I know that. Sure, we'll go with that. Hi, Zex, how are you? Hope you're doing well. You learned and forgot Hangul in a day, then you didn't learn it in a day. You looked at it. You looked at it. No, it's easy to learn though. We should do a lesson. We'll do a lesson one day. I think it'd be fun to teach you guys how to write it. Read and write. Learning to read and write in Korean is simple, but speaking can get tough. Yeah, I actually don't think speaking it, learning to speak, learning to understand it is that difficult. I find the conjugations quite simple, if I'm being honest. I think the problem is pronunciation is really hard. They use a lot of sounds that people are just not used to in the West, and that takes some time to get used to. I think that's the hard part. So because it's hard to say the words, they think it's hard to learn the language, but it's really not, I don't think. Does North Korea use a different language? No, it's the same, but they have no loanwords. So in South Korea, you use a lot of
Ain't no way
loanwords.
I donated
Yeah.
then instantly have Twitch hit me with an ad. See you've Tomiga lol velp I'm subbed now.
That's how Twitch gets you. All part of the plan. All part of the plan. Now, North Korea is still standard, same Korean, but the language has no loan words because they think that the US is evil. And also they split before a lot of loan words were used. So they, from there forward, were like, yeah, we're not going to use those English loan words either. We have to keep our identity separate. And they don't have outside influence from other countries, so they're not likely to run into those anyway. And then they just have a very different accent. So when, I don't think you guys would ever like hear it, but when I speak, or I hear someone speaking Korean in a North Korean accent, I can immediately tell that they're North Korean. Like immediately, you can just tell by the way they say certain vowels, especially. And they kind of all, anyone who's from North Korea has that accent in some way, shape, or form because they're so insular. They don't have influence from South Korea. So it's just like, it's really distinct and it's hard for them to unlearn. It actually makes a lot of them, when they defect, it's really hard for them to integrate into society because everyone can just tell they're North Korean, like, like immediately. It's really tough for them. It's really, really hard. Really, really hard. But, yeah. Never heard any media from North Korea? Oh, it's like... Here. I'll find one for you. It's really not hard to find. Here. 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 I have a video that's just less than a minute. Let's see what they do. In my opinion, it's not just the word choice for certain items, it's the accent in which they say certain things. Yeah, tomato, tomato. Right. I don't think the accent is so strong that people in the South can't understand North Koreans usually. Usually they can still understand each other. There are certain things that they'll say that are a little weird, and you might be like, "What are they saying?" And then you're like, "Oh, that's right. They pronounce this way." But it's more like their inflection when they're speaking that's different. And then a lot of Northerners will have a hard time understanding people in the South because of their accent, because they have not had to hear other accents. They're not used to that. But also because they use so many loan words from English and they have no idea what any of those are for the most part. So, you can find North Korean cartoons on YouTube. Yeah, you can find a lot of things. Here's a good example. I actually don't know if this is a good example, but the title makes it sound like it's pretty good and it's short. It's short. You can also tell by what they call their respective countries, how they refer to their respective countries. Let's see. Okay, so they're going to say different words, how they say it. So you notice that the girl who's South Korean on the left, she said lotion. She said the loan word lotion, roshan, right? And then the other girl adds an entirely different word for it, because in North Korea, they don't have that. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Omoksa is like the fat on your cheeks, basically. Omoksa is like saying it's saying like the fat on a part of your cheek for that word. So these are entirely different words, but when they're speaking, their accents aren't actually that far apart. So them being able to understand each other isn't that bad usually. Mm. Oh, I don't know how to describe how weird this is to hear to you guys, but 일 없음가. So if you were here's a good lesson for you. Here's a good lesson. Okay. Actually, let me move this over here. If you said, "Has anything happened?" 무슨, like which or what kind of thing. 일이었어, or some sort of conjugation of that is like 무슨 일이야? What's going on? That root word il is at the beginning here, 일, right? And what the girl says, I'll move it over so you can see it. She says these 4 syllables, 일, which is like something happened, 없음가, like were there no happenings, is a direct translation of that. The thing is, this 없음가 doesn't exist in South Korean. You would say 없습니다, 없어요, like that. She says 없음가. That's just like, it's just a conjugation of it that I've just like not seen in the South ever. So that's kind of the difference between South and North Korean. But the thing is, I'm able to understand what this is just by looking at it, even though I haven't studied this dialect. Because 없음가, it just sounds a lot like 없습니다. Like, you know what I mean? It's basically a crunched down version of the same thing. It does sound informal to me, yes. And it's sort of like some other things that I've heard people say a lot of. It just sounds like her saying it fast. You know what I mean? And that's a good example too. When you say 마세요, you have a verb and then 마세요. 하지 마세요 means don't do this. If you say anything and then ma at the end, blank 마요, it usually kind of negates it. So 하지, to do, 해, to do. 하지 마요, don't do that. 하지 마세요, formal, don't do that. She says a different word there, and then instead of saying 마세요, she says 마시오. 마시오. If you put those two together, they sound really similar, right? 마세요, 마시오. But they're not the same. It's slightly different, and it's even spelled differently. So that's how different North and South Korean are. Like, you can still get it if you're hearing someone speak quickly. You can assume a lot of this, but it definitely sounds different. And then that's another one. 하세요 versus 함까. So the left, she's speaking a little more formally. On the right, this sounds a little more informal. The you usually is a formal thing. And she just goes, hamka. Like, no one does that in the South. Yeah, osubnida, or she said osimnida is her doing that kind of normal South Korean conjugation that I was talking about earlier. So it's really interesting to me. It's a lot of the words are changed out for different roots, and then the conjugations are really similar but not the same. But that's kind of the difference. That's the level of difference. Does that make sense? Can you, like, even if you don't know it, you can hear the difference of them trying to say the same thing. Grew up in the South, visiting New York City is basically the same thing as this. Honestly, yeah. If you're from, like, let's say you're from the Midwest, U.S., and you go to the Deep South, that's the same level of difference we've got going on here. You're using some different words, some things. I would describe the North. I would not describe it as a drawl, but a little like that at times. But it's still the same language. They can still sit there and talk to each other, right? So that's the sort of thing where, like, it's that level. Yeah, England to Scotland. Yeah. Puranguksu. Yeah. That's the kind of thing. Like, a lot of the words in North Korea, where in the South they have a different word for it at this point, or they have a loan word. They won't use the loan word in North Korea, so they'll describe it as exactly what it is. I think the ice cream one was a really good example of that. Let me find it. How did she say it? Or the word for smile in South Korea, they were saying miso. Miso is smile. And then in North Korean, she was saying bol usum. Now, usum is still a word that they use in the South for smile or for, like, laughing more so, like a joyous expression. Usum. It's still kind of like a version of that, and that's just how they say smile. Miso is just like a more recent word. I don't really know where it came from, but, you know, it's just interesting because, like, the North Korean word for it sounds like a real descriptor. Instead of a unique word for it, it sounds like a descriptor of exactly what it is. Like how we call ice cream, ice cream. We don't have some other word for it. Ice and cream is ice cream, right? And a lot of words in North Korean are like that, where it's this, like, exact description of what the thing is spelled out. Sort of like, I don't remember how to say it, but in Mandarin, what they call owls is basically like, if you break it down into its parts, you're calling it like a flying cat, right? Does anyone know how to say that? I can't remember what the words were, but you essentially are calling it like flying, like cat bird. Not flying cat, but cat bird, right? And that's how you'd say it in Mandarin. So it's an exact yeah. It's of like an exact descriptor. That's German for gloves is hand shoes. Right. So when you hear someone speaking in North Korean, if they're saying a lot of words that you don't recognize, but it sounds like exact descriptions of things like that, that's a way you can sort of tell, like, that person's from North Korea, probably. They don't use loan words, and they just break these words down into, like, their exact definitions. It's interesting. But it all comes from them trying to deal with things in a modern world and not having loan words and not making new words for them, just, like, describing them. You know, such is the way of how they use their language. So I don't know, it's just a cool case study. I've always been very interested in it because there aren't a lot of, there are no countries that are in the situation that the North's in. There have not been any, basically, for this long, especially. And it's such a unique scenario. It's just cool. I wish it would end, but, you know, it's a cool case study. It's the best you can do with it, you know? Fingers of the feet is how you say toes in Spanish. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff like that, right? Cat head eagle. Yeah. Yeah, that's the how you say fucking owl in Mandarin. Yeah. Yeah, linguistically interesting. There's a South African skunk-like creature, and in Afrikaans they say stink mouse dog. Yeah. It's funny. South modernized quickly, North is like a control group. It's a good way to put it. It's a really good way to put it. Not just a control group, they're like, well, yeah, a control group, right? Because they're actively rejecting anything from the outside. They're not allowed. So, It's really interesting, man. I don't know. This is the stuff I like reading up on the most because I think it's cool. Oh yeah, apple of the earth for potato in French. Yeah, yeah. It's cool, man. It's cool. And then you go to English, and this is why people say English is so hard when they're learning from other languages, or they're coming from other languages, learning English, because we have unique words for everything. We have very few things where it's an exact descriptor, like ice cream, right? Almost everything is a unique name, and the word bank you have to learn is just huge. It's just massive. And then there are so many different words to mean the same things, and then a lot of those words all come from different linguistic roots. So, like, it's just, oof. Oof. It's tough. It's tough for that reason, I find. So then when we're going through hard mode, nightmare mode, as our first language, and we go to learn another language, when someone starts complaining about another language that simplifies things, I'm always like, why are you complaining? Because it's actually way easier. For English, you have to hear a word to know it's pronounced. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of English speakers pronounce things so incorrectly because they might be more used to hearing a lot of words that come from a certain root and not another root, depending on where they're from. I don't know. Oh, like, I was talking to my mother the other day. We were visiting a family member. We were on our way, and we stopped at a store to pick something up, and we're talking. And we see, like, I don't know if we see a magazine cover or something. We see something, and she's like, that guy always had and she says this, a penchant for whatever it was, for fashion. He always had a penchant for fashion. Now, I know what she means by penchant, right? and someone else in the line is like, a what? And my mom just looks at the woman and goes, a penchant. A penchant. I was laughing so hard because I was like, that's just such a like English speaker moment, you know, like so many people will just see it differently. A penchant versus a penchant. I don't know. And it's not my mom being haughty. She just was taught like, hey, this is a French word, so you say it like that. And you don't even say it overtly French. It's just, you could still say it. We say it in a pretty Americanized accent, all things considered, but it's still penchant, right? And it's spelled like that, penchant. I don't know. That's just, I was taught that too. Say it like how your mother did. I know a lot of people that say it both ways, either way. Yeah. So then when I hear someone say pension, I'm like, what are they saying? Pension? You have a government job? Took a bunch of years of French and we'll still say niche is niche to people. Oh, I hate that one. I always say niche. But I remember having a teacher that was like talking about different niches that animals have in ecosystems. And they'd be like, yeah, this animal's niche is. And I was like, I cannot listen to you. There's an E after it. It's niche. Like mustache, okay? CHE, it's niche. I was, oof. I don't like that one. Resume versus resume. That's not a weird one because they're different words entirely. Resume is to resume a thing, to continue a thing. Resume is a like your CV, your cover letter almost in a way. Well, not your cover letter, but you know what I mean. They're different words, so I wouldn't say that's a weird one. Resume and resume. You have to have context for that one. Yeah, a lot of people don't know how to pronounce it. There are a lot. I think the one that I always complain about, because this is something that I never knew was a problem until I saw VTubers saying this word. I'm going to type a word. I want you to pronounce this out loud to yourself. How would you pronounce that? And then I'm going to type another word. How would you pronounce this? Say it out loud to yourself. Say both of those in a row. Okay. All right. You don't pronounce the T in either of those. Okay? Debut and debuted. I'm going to debut a new model. I debuted my 3.0 model. I cannot listen to it, and some of my own friends do it. I hate it so much. They say, I debuted a model. I'm like, what are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying? And the thing is, when they say debut, they'll leave the T out. So why do they add the T when it's in past tense? It's the same word as debuted. I don't like that one at all. I don't know. Taramichi need to hear it. I'll bother them. Thing is, if they're both ESL, okay, to be clear. So like, I'm not gonna bother them about it so much because they're both legitimately ESL, okay? But for other people that aren't, no excuse, pal. There's debutante. Yeah, but that has vowels after it, then adding an entire suffix that needs to be pronounced in a vowel form, whereas debuted doesn't add a vowel to the end, so that's why you pronounce the T there. That's just, I don't know, it's just the rules. Runya. Runya. Thank you for the raid. Welcome on in. I'm complaining about how people pronounce debut and debuted, and they like to add the T, and how that's wrong. We've been talking about languages. I've only heard debuted from ESL. Yeah, typically. And I think people are afraid to correct them because they don't want to be an asshole. But I think they'd rather know how to do it so they don't feel like an idiot. Because in my opinion, not my opinion, in my experience, anytime I've had a friend who's ESL and they pronounce something wrong, I say, oh, it's pronounced this way. They go, thank you. Why didn't anyone tell me? They always say that. They're like, why didn't anyone tell me? I've been saying it wrong the whole time. They don't know. There's nothing wrong with pointing it out as long as you're not an asshole about it. You just go to your friend and you say, by the way, it's pronounced like this. That's it. That's it. I haven't they. Because it feels condescending. I think people need to get over that. What makes it feel condescending is the way you do it. If you have good intent, you have good intent. And just don't do it to people that you don't know at all. Maybe then it's a little condescending. Like, why are you trying to educate someone you don't know? But you can also ask and be like, by the way, I know you're ESL. If you pronounce a word incorrectly, do you want me to tell you? Some people will be like, nah, I'm learning on my own. Some people will be like, yes, please. You could just ask before you do it. You know what I mean? Like, ball in their court. And if they say no, they say no. Right? So, you know, it's fine. Pronouncing debuted with the T made makes me stumble over the word, which might include me in as an ESL speaker shouldn't be pronounced that way. Maybe, but there are other words that are pronounced really awkwardly too, so it's like, you know, I don't think you really easily develop a sense for that. Henya wants to learn, so if she says something good, it's good to correct. Yeah, you just have to know what that person wants. And if you're not close with them, ask. If you are close with them, ask. And either way, just ask. Like, hey, do you want me to do this if I know something? Because in my experience, every single time, they've been like, wow, I wish someone told me. Because then they feel stupid because they've gone the whole time and no one's corrected them. And so sometimes what feels like being nice or feels like courtesy is not what's good for that person. You know what I mean? So you should always ask, man, if you can. If you can. So thought about English being as it is partially due to the nobility attempting to make the language as inaccessible as possible to the plebs. Yes, there's weird history with it. Yeah, they butted a new model. I don't know. There are a lot of words where if someone pronounces it wrong because it's a language root thing, I kind of get it for some of them because they're not common words. But if it's a really common word, I don't know. I don't have patience for it. I just correct people. I go, it's like this actually every time. I don't know. Asking is the way. Yeah. You just check because some people will be like, hey, yeah, that would make me feel bad. I don't want to do that. You know? Your native language is not English, but you do mix in English and your native language a lot. What is your native language? I don't have a problem with people asking me to translate it into my native language. Just don't do it in a condescending way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's about how you approach it more than the context.
Debut is a good term for perineum sunning.
Something we do here all the time. German. Ooh, we have a lot of Germans in the chat always. One of the stats on Twitch that I see and YouTube as well, actually, of like who watches me the most. There's a lot of Germans. Are there other French? A lot of French people, yeah. UK, Germany, France. We just have a lot. Anything Central European, Western European, even Eastern European, there's a good number too. Yeah, people from Poland. Partially because of the time slot that I stream in, but also I always laugh because a lot of the German viewers are like, they're like, I appreciate you because other people try to joke too much. I remember one German viewer was like, hey, I'm not funny. and I don't think my people are funny. And I was like, I wouldn't say that. It's just like humor is very different. And they're like, no, I just appreciate your approach to being very blunt about it, because I don't get it sometimes when Americans try to be funny certain ways. I just don't know. And I've heard the same thing from a lot of like my German friends. They're like, yeah, when I'm making friends online, I have an easier time making friends with ones from like the UK because of the bluntness in their humor. I was like, you know what? I get it. I get it. You said I'm a North Korean viewer. Yeah, say something a North Korean would say. We'll see. We'll see. You mentioned it's easy to pronounce GEEGA. Oh yeah, my name, yeah. Are there any mispronunciations that you remember off the top of your head? Of my name? A billion. A million. It's always making it J's instead of G's. You said Odin Bolsongi. That's because you just saw that in that video. Nice try. Nice try. Odin Bolsongi. Such an interesting word. New English can be viewed as Greek, Latin, and Old French in a trench coat wearing lederhosen, as they really, really dig German but couldn't get them in the coat. You know what? I feel like it's similar to German in syntactical structure, but not the words used. Sometimes. Maybe. Sometimes. You like self-deprecating and anti-humor? I like anti-humor. I don't like self-deprecation that much. I was taught not to do that. Okay? My parents were like, don't do that, because you'll start to believe it. Okay? You're going to reinforce that shit, even if you're doing it to be funny. So I just don't do it that much. That was taught out of me. Yeah, self-defecating humor, though, huge. Huge. Throwaways. Look, Throwaways sitting here putting like the typical North Korean poster language. all those posters where they're like the propaganda, they're like, get rid of the Americans, you know? Oh man, I know all of them. You can't fool me. You can't fool me. You don't like it when people use self-deprecating humor all the time to the exclusion of everything else? Yeah. If they do a little bit of it in between things because it's like the funniest joke you can make in that situation, it's fine. But when it's the only thing you do, you're just turning yourself into that person. You're making yourself the butt of the joke, like to the point where that actually becomes your identity. It's not you know, it's not the way to go. Yeah, Jack, that's what they meant, yeah. For sure. Everyone's trying to have a Korean stream for fun. I don't have enough speaking practice in recent years. When I had to speak a lot, it was a lot of years ago, so my understanding of it's pretty good, but then when I have to speak, I'm like, how do I conjugate that again? Now I still can, but it's not as good as it used to be. So instead, I'd like to do like learning streams and stuff where I know I can explain a concept, but I don't have to sit there and speak quickly because I'll just like forget how I want to conjugate a thing and have to stop and, you know. But I would do it. There aren't that many people that I know that speak Korean like fluently. It's mostly Korean Americans that they're like, hey, your Korean's better than mine. I'm like, why? But I think it's because I actually lived there for some time and they didn't usually, so. Or even if they did, they spoke English to their parents, so. Whereas I was there and I didn't really have English speakers around me when I was there, so, you know, I got put through the gauntlet. I got put through the damn gauntlet. You don't want self-deprecation to become your identity? Yeah, I think, it's one of those things where if your sense of humor is always being morbid or always being negative toward yourself or whatever, your chance of having that really affect you and how you think about yourself is a lot higher than you think. Everyone's like, oh, I don't really think that though. And the next thing you know, it's 2 years later, you look back and you're like, whoa, I hate myself. Like, it's the whole fake it till you make it thing is so true. If you laugh a lot for no reason, you just start training yourself to laugh more, you'll be happier. You'll find things funnier. Straight up. Try to smile more, even if you don't feel like smiling. That legitimately works, okay? Because of the way your brain works. It's just true. So, you know, if you do it negatively, it's true. If you just, all of your humor is like negative, then you're gonna have broken humor and you're not gonna find any like normal, wholesome, funny stuff funny anymore. And you're gonna fucking hate yourself because it's the only joke you can make. You know? You do it to yourself. So just be careful with that, guys. Changing behavior is easier than changing beliefs. Yeah, and if you change behavior, it's a domino effect into changing beliefs. Straight up. Straight up. Nobody hates me more than me, so I'm immune to the hate of others. No one will ever know and understand you the way you know and understand yourself. So that's why no one's insults should matter to you, because they're not insulting the real you, because they'll never know the real you. Therefore, you have a force field and you are immune. Boom! That's the secret sauce, guys. That's the secret sauce. You are immune. Lucky. You're on my desk again. Really? There's no food on my desk. There are no snacks here. Oh, he's walking in front of me. There's nothing here for you. What's your angle, huh? What's your plan? He's got no plan. He's got no plan at all. None. Used to say not too bad in response when people talk to me asking how I'm doing, which I realized was kind of a state of existence I didn't want. So now I tell everyone I'm having a great day. Yeah. Lucky, come on. Yeah, I just go good. Good. If nothing bad happened, I'd say that's pretty good. So how's your day going? Oh, pretty good. That's my default. Yeah, pretty good. Doing all right. How about you? And I'm not going, doing all right. I'm doing all right. You know what I mean? Like, it's a more positive doing all right. Nothing bad happened. Yeah. Usually it's just, I'm all right. Yeah, saying, I'm all right. How are you? And, but using a nice positive inflection, not, I'm all right, I guess, you know? Right? It's been pretty cold, but I'll survive is your one lately. Yeah. I when people ask how are you, I think about what is my instinctual lizard brain feeling right now. And usually it's something like cold or hungry. So someone goes, how are you doing right now? And I go, cold, but good. How are you? I always say, but good, you know? Tired, but chilling. British response, none of your business. You go, nunya. Nunya. How you doing, nunya? What's nunya? None your business. That's the one. That's the one. New model looks absolutely ravishing. You know who always said ravishing? Whenever someone says that word, you know what I think of? Fucking, what's his name from? The prince from... Okay, I can't remember if I'm thinking of the prince from The Princess Bride or the guy from Robin Hood Men in Tights. Which of the two guys am I thinking of? I can't recall. One of them says it, and I can picture him. Kind of. Same guy? I mean, the characters are basically the same guy, but which one kept saying it? Are they the same actor? Yes, but which character? Yeah, the Sheriff of Nottingham. Close Prince Charming from Shrek. They're all the same, man. They're the same guy. They're the same dude. Humperdinck. Well, either way. When you say that, you're one of those. You're in the same category. You know, we were just talking about, I was like, oh yeah, there's always a guy at karaoke that sings Radiohead by Creep by Radiohead every time. And he's a category of person. All of those princes mentioned are also same category of person, and they probably also sing Creep by Radiohead at karaoke. I think that's the same genre. Just modern versus past. I think they're the same guy. Hot take. They're the same dude. Don't sing such a depressing song. Zex, dude, I'm telling you, so many people, when I go to karaoke with friends, so many people sing that song. And they'll always sing it and not look at anyone. They'll look straight at the lyrics, and they know they're being looked at, and they're like, I can't look at anyone or I'm going to get embarrassed that I'm singing this song. So they just look at the lyrics and they're like, I walk with I don't belong here. You know, and they lock the fuck in. Oh, it's so funny. Are you supposed to look at other people at karaoke? Not that you're supposed to. I'm just saying they make a real big effort not to. And you know they know all the lyrics. Did bandioke a few years ago, so it's karaoke with a live band. Oh, I like that. I like that. I was saying the other day, he sings, by the way, Chad. He sings. I was saying that the guy that sings Creep by Radiohead is the same guy who sings a few other songs, but especially it's the same guy that sings Mr. Brightside every time. Do you agree? Heavenly as well, Heavenly Father. Do you agree that those two guys singing that song at karaoke are the same guy every time? On average? Hard agree. Okay. I will stand on that hill forever. I believe that it is always the same person who does it. Hate those guys because they either get pissed drunk or don't pay. And don't pay, or they don't drink and brood in the corner. No, it's always the friend who, when they drink a little, is fun, but when they start drinking a little more, they get misty-eyed and sad. Okay, it's always that guy. His inner darkness that he thinks is super dark when really we're just like, you're just sad and alone. It comes out in that moment, and they think it's really deep, and I'm like, you just need a girlfriend. And it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. I had this one friend, well, part of, not really like my friend so much as just part of a friend group, would see a couple times a year. Every time he would drink, he'd have 1 or 2 drinks in him. He'd be fine. He'd be chilling, having a good time. After a couple drinks, he'd be sitting in the corner, quiet, just looking around. And if you locked eyes with him and you just looked at him, he would just hold the gaze, right? He'd just sit there and look at you, and he'd start getting misty-eyed. And he'd sad smile at you. And he'd just do that until you asked him what's wrong. He'd just sit there and be like, and he wouldn't start full crying, but he'd be like, and you could see the tears a little, and you're like, what's going on, buddy? What's happening? Right? And every time, notice me, he literally would just sit there being donk sad, right? And you'd be like, what's going on? And he'd be so in his head, and the first thing out of his mouth would always be like, I'm here, but I'm not even here, you know? It would always be something like that, or he'd be like, it's all these people, but I just miss her. It would be one of those lines every time. Every time. And it was a new one every time, but it'd be something that you could tell he brooded on, and it was like, in his head, it was such a big deal. But to everyone else, we're like, okay, yeah, cliche of some sort. And it was always funny. And we wouldn't laugh at him in the moment, but afterwards, like the next day, we'd sit around, talk about it, and laugh about it. And we used to keep a list. I think someone has it somewhere. I don't know who. One of the friends in that group has it somewhere. A list of the first thing he said every time when someone noticed that, like, that he's feeling like this. You ever feel like you're living, but you're not alive? Yeah, he'd say stuff like that. Or just, you know, I've been sitting here this whole time, and it's like the time just went nowhere. He'd just feel like in a crisis. Oh, so funny. It's so funny. Did he also find it funny when sober? Absolutely, absolutely. Because he was aware that he was like cringe. You know, he was aware that he was that guy, but he was socially apt enough to keep it, you know, conceal, don't feel. But then as soon as he drank, he'd like start thinking it was really deep and that other people might want to hear about it. And he'd be so embarrassed after. He'd be like, I'm so sorry, but he would laugh about it. So, you know, so that's why we would even talk about it, because he found it funny. Ugh. It was so fucking funny, dude. Yeah, it's surrounded by people, but I'm so alone. Yeah, very middle school. It was just, he'd do that, and then he'd really be like, he'd be crying. He'd be like, I'm good, don't worry about me. And he'd just go like sit in a corner, close his eyes. And he would just wait for someone to sit down next to him, and he'd just start venting. And you know who would usually do that? A girl. Almost always a girl would sit around, feel sympathy, look at him and be like, what's going on? Do you need to talk? You know? And they would sit next to him, and then he'd just start like pouring his heart out. And then by the end of it, he'd be like, thanks for listening. I just, you know, no one listens to me. And then he'd like fall in love with them. You know? He would just fall in love with them every time. He'd be like, you know, she really listened to me, and I just feel like, you know, she showed a level of caring that no one does, and like she noticed when I was feeling down, and and then, like, and the problem was he'd laugh about everything the next day, but he'd still like that girl every time. Every time he'd be like, where was she though? And I'd be like, stop. Eventually we stopped trying to stop him. Yeah, yuck. I was like, dude, you need something else in your life to talk to women. You can't be drinking, pouring your heart out, and then being like, wow, she listened to me because I looked like I was crying. Like, so stupid. So dumb. The puppy dog trap. Yeah. That's the thing, is if he did that to some girl who's like strongly maternal, wants to take care of a sick puppy kind of thing, they would fall for it. They would fall for it every time. They'd be like, he needs me, you know? But realistically, it was like, it didn't matter who it was. If you just listened, he was like, wow, she's great. So, you know, not so good. Wait, so that doesn't work? No, it doesn't work. Don't do that. Don't do that. Mm-mm. Can you do my laundry? Yeah. Get labeled as son in Gigi's phone energy. You're so right. You're so right. Yeah, I had a good number of friends where they would like be going through a thing, and I'd sit there and listen. I'd be like, what's going on, pal? You know, and I would listen to them. And the number of times that people would be like, does this mean I have a chance? You know, like, like they'd start acting different. I'd be like, you gotta stop that. This means nothing. This means, oh, I saw a person and I lent them an ear for 10 minutes. Okay, brother, like, let's back up. I hated that. I hate that so much. Nope. No thank you. Never cry in front of ladies, bottle it up and die old and tough as nails. No, cry in front of ladies, listen to them, let them listen to you, and then that's it. Yay, you made a friend, okay? There you go. You became more emotionally in touch and you are matured for it. All right. That's how that should end, right? Yay, you did it. Woo. Then you listen to them when they have issues. You said, I'm too gay to cry. See, that's very interesting because a lot of my gay friends do nothing but cry to me. So, you know. But then you look at them, okay, you do the idiot sandwich hands inside their face and you go, queen, never cry. And they go, you're so right. And then, you know, and then we'd like go party or something. So then we go to that restaurant that we booked it in advance and we're on time for. That's really what happens. We go to that charcuterie place. That's how that goes. That's just, you know, that's the usual. Speaking words I can't pronounce. What, charcuterie? Charcuterie. That's not too bad. It's 4 syllables, so if you go fast, you know. But each syllable's easy. I think. God, I want charcuterie. Oh. I told you about the charcuterie board that Mata ordered when we were together, right? Big ass charcuterie board. We were about to eat an entire normal ass dinner too. That was just a bonus that the place had. It wasn't what the place was about. And she was like, oh, I love charcuterie. And she ordered so much. And I said, all right, I can't have you guys filling up on this and not eating your entrees. I'm going to crash out. And we fucked that whole thing up. We ate all of it. It was so good. Oh, so good. And thankfully, Matara and I have something in common. She also likes eating raw meat. I like tartare of all kinds. Okay? I love it. A lot of my friends won't touch it. They're scared. They're just scared of tartare, and I understand why, but I like it anyway, and I'll eat it. And thankfully, I discovered she was not scared of tartare, so we ordered so much to share. like so much. Scared of what? I think it's fair, because if you eat at a place that doesn't handle it well, like, you know, you can get sick, of course. So I get it, but you you just have to be careful. Like don't get it if you're at a place that's very you know, questionable questionable on the pricing and stuff. It's really something that you should only get at a place if you're splurging and you're like eating out at an expensive spot. Are so many Americans scared of tartars? Their beef bad? No, no. It's just that back in the day, way back in the day, food standards were different, and people were afraid of eating not well cooked meat and stuff because of that. Nowadays, the standards are a lot better, and you shouldn't be as scared. But I think that culture has kind of persisted. So, you know. But also, yeah, there are plenty of places that will offer things that they shouldn't offer. Yeah, like gas station sushi. They should. I think the gas stations should be realistic about themselves and who they are and stay in their lane and know that they're a gas station and they shouldn't be going for stuff like sushi, you know? But they'll do it anyway. That shit rips. I mean, it can. It can. It's usually not the preparation that's um the problem. The real issue is usually that they just leave that stuff out. It's fine day one, but you'll go there and it'll be day 3 of that gas station sushi sitting out there in a refrigerated area, but it's not in a closed fridge, it's an open fridge, so it's not that cold, you know? That's the problem. The fermentation for flavor. I don't know. It's just it's one of those things you should be careful with, depending. The Bucky's sushi, trust and believe. No. No, 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 never. Absolutely never. No way. That's one of those things I Oh, one of my tabs just started playing. What is it? Oh, it's my YouTube. Okay, let me close that. Why did it start playing? Why did it do that? I can't tell why. I can't. I don't know, man. Whatever. Who cares? Who cares? So I have a diamond colon. I tank gas station sushi. I'm one of those people who kind of will eat anything, and I'll usually be okay. I really don't mind. I really don't care. I'll tank it. I'll be somewhere. I'll order a steak, and I'll go give it to me rare. Okay, I want that rare steak. And a friend will be sitting there, and they'll go, I don't know if you want to order that here. And I'll go, it'll be fine. And you know what? Maybe I've just gotten lucky. Never had an issue. Never had an issue. Whatever. I'll risk it. I love blue rare. I won't order it blue rare. You know, a lot of places won't even do it. But that's just how I like to do it if I can. You know, someone orders their steaks blue. I feel like if you go to a place that isn't good and you have them make a blue steak, they're not actually going to do it well. They're not really going to sear it well. I don't know. And then it also depends on what cut. Certain cuts are nice like that. Other cuts, eh. Yeah, if you order blue, it comes out what rare should be a lot of the time. I agree. But I want it to still be bleeding. That's what I want. I want it to still be bleeding, personally. I don't know. I just feel like you still get you get really beefy flavor. I like that. If a part of the food would be moldy, would you cut it off and eat the rest? Okay. I grew up really frugal. I grew up pretty broke. My answer to that for the longest time would usually be yes, but it depends on the food. And it depends on how well it can spread on that food. You know? If it's bread, you have to cut a lot more of it off because it's very porous inside, so it could spread on the inside a little more easily, whatever. But I would visually cut it off and eat the rest. Yeah, absolutely. But for bread, maybe not. But for some other foods, yeah. It depends. It really depends on what food that is. But I can't be wasteful. I just can't do it. I was raised that if you're a little wasteful, like, you know, that's the worst. That's the worst. So, yeah, I would still eat it. I would do it. I don't know. I'm I don't know. Yeah, cheese. Yeah, I would cut it. Yeah, there's certain things you can also just wash mold off of because it won't actually get inside it that well. You can just cut off like the outermost layer and then wash, and you're fine. Some foods are really weird to wash, though. So it doesn't work with everything, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do like that. And I'm that person. I will risk it. I will do it. Your grandfather taught you St. Peter will hang you above a barrel with every drop of food you wasted and alcohol you've spilt. Yeah, I've heard that one before. I have. You feel like it's fully contaminated. Well, mold, you releases spores into the air around it, right? And then the spores attach to the outside and then they grow from there. So usually cutting off the outside, yeah. But also, what scares you about mold? Because in larger amounts, mold has some toxicity toward people. It can be bad. But in tiny trace amounts, you're probably just gonna digest that shit and you'll be fine. You know what I mean? So I'm not afraid of like tiny amounts of touch contamination. It looks yucky. Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying it's not gross. It is. It is. But mold on its own, it's just another spore based thing. It's another fungus, that just can be a little toxic. So, and yeah, there are different types of mold. Very true. Very true. So, yeah, there are certain things I'll just cut it off and whatever. Free penicillin. There's types of mold where even in small amounts, like they'll be really bad for you. You just have to be aware. You gotta be aware. People think when they see mold, it means expired. Yeah, it's not always bad. It just means that there's been enough exposure to mold spores already. You don't know how much exposure it's had. Maybe it's had a lot of exposure, and so it's gonna get the mold really quickly. It might also be how damp your environment is. Maybe the way you stored it is bad. Maybe that thing itself is just damp anyway, so it's going to allow the mold to grow. Who knows, man? It usually means it's expired. Usually, if mold is growing and you stored it properly, yeah. But I'm also one of those people that doesn't always follow expiration dates exactly. It depends on what it is, especially if it's canned food, things like that. There are a lot of things that the expiration date is there, and it's set quite a bit earlier than the thing actually goes bad, typically. But it's set really early on like that so that the fringe cases they're not liable for. Okay? So if let's say most of one product takes 10 days to go bad, they'll still put the expiration date at like 7 days or so because sometimes under certain conditions it'll go bad by that time. So they do that so they're not liable. Okay. Yeah, they're usually kind of more so Best By date. So, I don't always follow. It depends on the food, depends on how it's stored, depends on the condition it's in, visually inspecting it, smelling it, whatever, like checking it, all of that. But yeah, if you got botulism, if you have a can and it's bowing out in certain places, it clearly has like extra gas inside that was produced. Okay, yeah, it's bad. It's gone really bad. So, yeah. You got to inspect it and you have to just be very informed on what to look for. Alleged people eater descriptor. Yeah, alleged. Yeah, allegedly. Allegedly. Watch Steve MRE eat 100-year-old beef from a World War I ration and he lived. Well, the World War rations, I mean, most military rations are just completely dehydrated. So there isn't really much that can happen as long as it's stored dry. For the most part, there's nothing organic that's going to grow on it and give you a problem because it can't grow on it because there's no water. So they're fine. Now, sometimes the food can turn taste-wise. It can get a little weird because some things just slowly break down. Like its structure does break down a bit. But that just means it doesn't taste good or the texture's off. It doesn't usually mean that it's going to make you sick, though. So why not? Fuck it. Fuck it. It's fine. I don't know if you noticed, but your Discord is a really bad ocean infestation. Oh, yeah. I saw everyone started changing their names in the Discord. I did see that, and I don't know what that's about. But I think Oshi might secretly be a brain-eating amoeba and he's infected several of you. That is what I'm thinking. I don't know. He looks like a slime, but maybe he's just an amoeba and he's just maybe he's an amalgamation of a bunch of them. He said we are Oshi. I don't like this. I don't like this. Hey, if there are more of you, do you have hours available? Can I hire you? Hmm. Hmm. He said he was spreading TFT and generally started to spread after you shot him. Dude, I've noticed so many of you playing TFT recently. You guys, you can't be saved. The Arcane pack came out and everyone, oh my god, new set. Oh my god. And it was all over. It was all over. What can you do? You guys love TFT. Oh, I hate that copy pasta. I hate that. Hate that so much. Ooh. Ooh. All right, fuck it. I'm open Cobblemon. I'm opening it. And you can't stop me because we can keep chatting about whatever. But I want to check out the Safari Zone. They opened the Safari Zone today, allegedly. Hold on. Changing my title. But not really changing my title, just changing the order of my title. That's my strategy. There we go. When is the tournament? It should be Friday. It should be Friday. So, I think the thing that I'm most concerned I won't get done in time is my gimme ghoul, getting him the coins he needs. So I have to check if there is a better way for me to get those coins or a better way for me to find more gimme ghouls. Because when we were searching for them last time, I was just flying around in a direction trying to find the gimme ghoul towers, and we have him up to 200 something coins. He needs 999. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. Not a lot at all. I've been able to catch Pokemon streams. What's GEEGA's favorite Pokemon? I don't have a favorite, but I have a lot that I like. Right now, I'll tell you what team I'm trying to make. But I have to find my image first. Here we go. Okay. I'm trying to make a team that is Gliscor, potentially Hisuian Samurott, Corviknight Goldengo, Blaziken, probably Gengar. Probably. But yeah, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get there. The original team had a Dragapult and an Annihilape in it, so I'm replacing Annihilape with Blaziken and Dragapult with Gengar. That's what I'm doing. Scary team. Yeah, I used that other version of it previously, and I really, really, really liked that team. I sent out Gliscor first for setup, and he does. I gave him Toxic, and then let me check. He holds a Toxic Orb. I give him Poison Heal. He has HP and Speed EVs. I give him Stealth Rock, Toxic, Earthquake, and Roost. So I just send him out there to set up, put out Stealth Rock, and then he's chilling. I could either throw Toxic on whatever it is, or just swap him out, whatever. So, Speed Boost Blaziken, most likely, yeah. Yeah. Probably, because the Annihilape that I had that I'm sort of replacing, he had Bulk Up, Taunt, Drain Punch, and Rage Fist. So, fair amount of Fire and Ground weaknesses. Oh, for sure, for sure. It's not going to be a perfect team, but I'm not trying to go perfect sweat. I'm just trying to do a team that suits me, I think. Because, if I go perfectly sweaty, I think that's too much for this server. And not enough time that I can spend on all that. Hold on. Let me see if I can join the world or if I need to download something. I think I need to do one thing. Let's see. Received registry entries. Oh, Mismatch Mod said, yeah, hold on. I might need to update it. There are a couple big sweats. Oh, I'm sure. I'm certain there are. I'm certain there are. Okay, hold on. Let me double check our thingy. Our Discord. I peep this big update. Blah blah blah. For some reason I'm getting some mismatched mods, but I didn't see any updates that we were required to do on our own. I do know they did an update today on their end. Oh wait, no, I see it. I see it. I see it. I found it. There's a version they released. I just had to click on a thingy to see it. Okay, hold on. Change version. Wait. Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. I said change version. Okay, I went to a drop down where I changed the version of the mod pack, and there was only one available, which made me think I was on it, but no, it's because they removed the old one, and that was the only one there. Okay. It's installing it. We're good. When you raided into Abe last time, seemed to be quite a lot of big sweats. Yeah, I might have to pull an all-nighter at some point. I might have to hop on with, like, Michi and just sit there, and we just grind out everything we need. I really want my Goldengo, though. He's going to be so good. I want to give him a Choice Scarf, Special Attack, and Speed for EVs. I want to give him Shadow Ball, Make It Rain, Trick, and Focus Blast if I can. Now, I don't know what level he gets some of these things at. So some of the moves that I want to give some of these guys, I might have to change because our max level is 50. But we'll see. But most stuff is going to be under. So, but yeah, Make It Rain is about 50. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to ask them if they can just add it because we are allowed to just poke for that kind of thing. But we'll see. You hate Good as Gold. What's the name of the other one? He has Good as Gold, or he can also get what's the name of it? The one where it clears all things off the ground. Like if you have Stealth Rock, you have spikes and things. There's a name for one ability that he can have that does that. And I know someone else has a Goldengo where they put that on him. No, not Rapid Spin. It's not a move. It's not a move. It's an ability. So when you put him out, the moment you throw him out, he clears the field of any obstacles or whatever you call them. Is it actually called Rapid Spin? It's not a usable move, though. It's something else. Let me see. Hold on. I can look this up. Goldengo abilities. Hold on. I'm checking him on Bulbapedia. Checking out my boy in Bulbapedia. Ability Control F. I just see Good as Gold here. No, there's another one. I don't know. There's one that someone put on it, and I think maybe they did it because they did it in Cobblemon. Maybe it's unique to Cobblemon that they're able to put it on him. Anyway, I put him out there with Good as Gold, which is just normal ability. And what it does is they're unaffected by other Pokemon status moves. So it's pretty nice. Stuff like Helping Hand, Howl, whatever. Hold on. Okay, let me find. Okay, this is now installed. We can open it. Yeah, Good as Gold is solid. It's solid. It's really nice. Yeah, I don't see it on Bulbapedia, so I think maybe the other one that someone put on theirs was not something you can normally put on Gold and Go Pokemon, but maybe they allowed it somehow through like Cobblemon mechanics, which I don't know enough about, to be honest. I don't know much about like what's unique to it, but it also they can just whitelist stuff for us. So if we say, hey, I really want this Pokemon to be able to fly, can you make him be able to fly? They can just go, okay, and flip a switch and allow it. So, you know, a weather team? I don't know. I actually don't know what types of teams people are using. I have no clue whatsoever. I'm just hoping. So my team will be a little weak to fire and ground, a little bit, but I'm trying to have some that maybe. Well, the problem is I won't have my Dragapult, and he was unaffected by. He had Levitate, which is unaffected by Earthquake. I'm hoping that maybe I can have something like that in here. I don't know. I'll just have to hope. I'll just have to hope. I actually considered doing an ice team initially, but I figured it would be a little difficult because the way the map worked was at first when they first opened the server, we were not able to explore very wide. The edges of the map, the borders would only move out as we caught more Pokemon. So I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find ice types. Initially, it was only going to be for a week. So I was like, within a week. I really doubt it. I really doubt it. And then lo and behold, we have a second week available. So maybe it would have been possible. Maybe. All right. There we go. Ta-da.